Do you find yourself losing focus? Every single time you want to start becoming successful, you hit that point of really high motivation and then all of a sudden you lose it. Maybe this is your third time, fourth time or fifth time starting that side hustle because now you've run out of money and you have to start again. If that sounds familiar, I've been in that exact same situation too. At university, I was trying every single side hustle, and for some reason, even though other people would have success, I would hit a point where I would lose all motivation and fall back into the same old routines. I would try no-fap, dopamine detoxes, and nothing would seem to work. I would binge watch hours of YouTube videos from entrepreneurs saying do this strategy, do that strategy to become successful and find motivation, and still it wouldn't work. Somehow I'd find myself back in the club on a table,
about to get super more lit, baby. Jeez.
Buying bottles that I didn't want to buy and going home bladdered, absolutely bladdered. So on my journey to becoming successful, I took one mentorship call. You can see a case study there. I spent $2,000 and I actually took the course on mindset. Now don't worry, this video is not going to be one of those ones where I tell you to meditate or work out. You know, these are some things that yeah, you should do, but I want to give you this one habit that I have used to have endless motivation, and I call this the pain pleasure matrix. Throughout the media, whether that is news, social media, or any type of marketing that you have seen, the pain pleasure matrix is always used. If you're a marketer, you will understand that all humans want to move away from pain and towards pleasure, and it all comes from our monkey brain. You see, if I said, are you tired of working at your 9 to 5? Do you hate having a boss? And would you like to live the life of your dreams, travel around the world and learn exactly how for completely free? Then click the link in the description. Seriously, you can. That is me using your pain points, having a 9 to 5, hating your boss. I wanted to move away from that to having pleasure. This is endlessly used. You see, all humans hate a pain and they either want to drive away from that or they just want to move towards that pleasure. Now, what I didn't realize is that you can actually use this on yourself. You see, when I booked in a call with my mentor, he told me, Tyrell, what goals do you want? And I said, oh yeah, man, I want to have $10,000 a month. I want to have a Tesla. Yeah, I want to do this by the end of the year. And he says, oh, great, Tyrell. Every single person that books in a call with me wants that exact same thing. And he said, if I dropped 10K on you right now and I gave it to you in cash, what would you do? And I said, well, to be honest, I can't even comprehend that amount of money. I've never had that much in my life. He said, well, there you go, Tyrell. You do not even understand how to even get the money. You don't even know what you're going to do with it. And ultimately, you won't even be motivated enough to get there. And I was like, to be honest, that is the case. You know, over the past few years, I've been going through these cycles, you know, the same cycles that. So he told me my goals are normal. Everybody wants to get there, but I need to attach a pain point to those goals. And that's where I came up with the pain pleasure matrix. This is where you attach a pain point to your goals. And this can be as outlandish as possible. We all know that you want to be player one and the director of your own movie. But it's so funny why people don't make these own scripts for themselves. We've all seen the Batman movies, right? Where he's training in the prison, right? And he's working out. He's like, right, I'm going to move away from this pain. When I come out, I'm going to save the city, right? I'm going to save the city and move towards pleasure. We've seen plenty of superhero movies on the come up. Well, you can have this same story for yourself. And that's when I decided to say to myself, what is the biggest pain that I have had? And me personally, my biggest pain point is that I have seen all of the generational negative cycles that my family have been through. You see, I come from 3 generations of my family going in and out of jail. My cousin is serving 13 years for a crime that he basically didn't do just because he don't want to snitch, as all people say. My uncles have done 15-year sentences. Some of my family have done even more. And cumulatively, I have seen the negative cycles that I completely don't agree with, and I've recognized the things where everybody is going wrong. And when I sat down at university at my lowest point, I wasn't emotional even saying this, but when I sat down at my lowest point, that's when I recognized that this is my biggest pain point. I don't want to go in that direction. I'd do anything not to end up going in that direction and following these negative cycles. So that became my pain point. Now that's completely mine. You guys might have your own pain point. And I'll be honest with you, the bigger that pain is, the more you're not going to want to do it. Me personally, I wrote that down in a book and I put it on my wall. You guys can write down on a post-it note, put it in plain sight. And the key thing is, it needs to be in plain sight. You can't just write it down or think about it and think that's going to be it, because you'll forget about it, right? This is why you have these motivational cycles. And then you want to set your goal, your hero goal. This goal that you want to achieve in a year or 5 years, right? You want to write it down and you want to be as specific as possible on this goal. Is it 10K per month? Okay, great. But what are you going to be buying with that 10K? What's your life going to look like? What's your ideal scenario? How is it like when you walk into a room? You at 10K per month, when you walk into a room, the people look at him and say, you know what? He's a great guy. He's changing lives. You know, I really like his story. I really like what he's doing. And then I want you to write down your pain point and go as much detail as possible. And I want you to sit there and look at these two scenarios and really ponder them, because these are the only two scenarios that you have. And if you make it specific, then this will be a revolutionary motivational technique for you. A lot of people don't list out two scenarios. They have backup plans and backup on that backup plan and backup on that backup plan, right? They say, right, if I don't get this, don't worry, I'll get a degree, and then, you know, at least I have something to fall back on, and then they have another thing to fall back on, and before they know it, you know, just being lazy. And for you guys, I've been in that exact situation before, and one quote that I use for that is the Napoleon Bonaparte. You see, Napoleon Bonaparte, if you didn't know, was a conqueror of his time, and I don't agree with a lot of things that he did. One technique that he has done to force motivation on his troops was ridiculous, and it's the same motivation that has been used multiple times throughout World War I and World War II. You see, Napoleon Bonaparte used to take all of his troops to war, and then once they'd touched down on the island or on the battlefield, he'd burn the bridges, he'd burn the ships, and he'd make sure that there is no way going back home. He'd say, guys, the only way to go back home is to go straight through the enemy. And sometimes he'd even burn his own ship too. So he'd have ultimate motivation too. And this has happened in World War I and World War II. There were multiple times where soldiers would turn up on the island and all of the ships would sink, either by, you know, barrages or by their own captains. And of course, guys, you don't have to go into these extreme scenarios, right? Even writing down this pain pleasure matrix, right, isn't as extreme as you think. However, if you do just write it down and give your brain two options, it removes all of the confusion and negative cycles that your brain has been going on. Let's bring it right back to these two options that you've wrote down. Now you can clearly see your pain point and your pleasure point, and you want to make it so you want to move away from this pain and towards pleasure, and then you want to attach it to your goal or whatever business model you're doing. For the sake of this video, I'm going to use social media marketing because that is the first goal that I set. I wanted to run a social media marketing agency. At the time, I had experience in social media marketing. I had a few clients. I understood a little bit about getting clients, but I was just struggling to pass that $1,000 per mark. Now, me and my coach jotted down some key actions that would help me get to this 10K per month mark and avoid this pain point mark. If we reach out to so many clients a day, if we study some books, if obviously I work out and meditate, I'll be in the right state of mind. And if I just do these key actions every single day, then mathematically, I will achieve this goal, because it's very easy in business to break things down into numbers. You see, so many people make these outlandish goals, but they actually don't have a process to get in there. But once you map down your pain point and your pleasure point, then you can simply map down the steps that you need to go to get there. And guys, if you don't know the steps to reach your goal, then take a look, do some research on how it is. The easy way that I found out for SMA, the steps to reach my goal, was I just tracked how many sales calls I've done, how many outreaches I've done, and how many clients I've closed. Then it's very easy. I have a percentage. If I've done 100 outreaches, and from those 10 sales calls, I've closed 1 client. That's a very easy process to understand. And then I just need to know, I just need to do 1,000 outreaches, then I'll get 100 sales calls, and then I'll close 10 clients, right? And each individual person is going to have a different process. It's exactly the same for e-commerce, exactly the same for brick and mortar, exactly the same for a real estate agent. Even in your 9 to 5, you can break down these numbers. And it's crazy how many people don't have their processes broken down to achieve a goal. And remember, your processes don't need to be ridiculous. Your goal doesn't need to be 10K. It might be able to pay your rent. It might be able to buy that car that you want to have, pay off your mortgage, anything you set your mind to and break down the processes, you'll achieve. And you're going to have endless motivation to achieve your goals when you attach that pain point. And this is a whole system. If you add all of these key points that I've discussed together, you will have endless amounts of motivation. So guys, if you like this video, if it piqued your interest and helped you understand how you can have endless motivation by attaching a pain point to your goal and working out the processes, then you now understand that all you have to do is the daily actions to achieve your goal. And remember this pain point every single day, that if you don't complete these daily tasks, you're one step closer to ending up at this position. Then you will now have endless motivation. You're not going to have to do, God mode or whatever the new scheme is that people are doing. You're not going to have to go on an alkaline diet or whatever. Now go out, take action on this. Don't be like the 99% of people that will watch this video and not take action. Or watch the next video on my channel to learn more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.